Hey, this is Robin from the Ocean, and you're watching Bay Area Rock.
You're watching Bay Area Rocks, and I'm Basie Stacy, and I'm here with Robin from the Ocean. Introduce yourself.
Hey, this is Robin from the Ocean, and you're watching Bay Area Rock. Was that supposed to be a teaser, actually?
Oh, it's kind of a teaser. It will be a teaser. So let's talk about the Ocean. Let's talk about how you guys formed and how you got the name.
Well, we've been around for a while. I think we started out in 2001, so it's actually our 10th anniversary this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. But the lineup back then was fairly different. I mean, I'm the only one left from those days. We've always been organized more as a collective in the early days with like lots of changing members and everything. And now 3 years ago, the band started to consolidate, and now we're like a pretty fixed lineup. We still have what we refer to as the collective, but that's like some musicians floating around this core of the band that are mainly like classical musicians that play on the albums, but usually not with us live, except for on special occasions like festivals. And we played this show at a museum in Berlin for musical instruments in February that we filmed for our upcoming DVD. And for stuff like that, we still have these extra collective people, but now the band is a real band with like 5 members. And so that's what's been happening the past 3 years pretty much. Before that, we had close to like 40 members or something like that.
That's what I heard. I heard you guys had like 40 members going through, but then you guys also have different instruments like, viola, piano, all that kind of stuff. Who is exactly in the touring band right now?
That's the 5 band members. That is our vocalist, Loic Rossetti. That is Jonathan Nido on guitar, me on the other guitar, Louis Yucca on bass, and Lucas on drums. That's the band. But we have 5 more people crew with us, a lighting designer, a sound guy, and 2 videographers and photographers that are actually like documenting the tour for the upcoming DVD. And a merch guy, of course. So.
And what is the upcoming DVD going to be called?
We don't know yet. It's a work in progress, so we don't have any precise release plans about it yet. We've been collecting lots of material. We filmed the record release party for Heliocentric, the record release show, last year in March in Switzerland, where the other 4 guys that are in the band are from. And we filmed this show at the Museum for Musical Instruments in Berlin. So those 2 shows are going to be on there. Lots of behind-the-scenes stuff, lots of visuals that we usually run live, which you couldn't see tonight because the clearing was too low. And it's going to be a long, and I think it's going to be a pretty cool and interesting DVD, but we don't have any precise plans as for what title or release is concerned. It's going to be out sometime next year, probably.
So you're from Berlin, but the other band members are from, I heard, Switzerland and stuff like that. How did you guys all meet and form as the core of the touring band?
Well, we have been touring since 2002, basically. So it was not that those 4 guys just all came in at the same time, and the people that were in the band at that time just left. It was like a kind of a gradual process. First, our other guitarist, or back then guitarist, quit because he wanted to focus more on his his other life, basically, and didn't want to be on the road as much. So we were looking for a guitarist, and then Jonah found us through the internet, basically, and wrote us a very dedicated mail, so we decided to check it out with him, and then it was cool, rehearsals went well, and he ended up doing a tour with us. And that's how he got into the band. And then our drummer quit, and Jonah was like, I know this guy in my town, check him out. That was Luc. And the same thing happened with Louis half a year later, the bass player. So they all came in step by step. And it was nothing that was planned. Like, had I imagined, I wouldn't have imagined 4 years ago that I was to be in this band with 4 Swiss people. No way. It's just one of these tragic comic stories in life that are kind of funny, but you wouldn't really expect anything like that to happen. So we all met through Jonah, basically, and we met Jonah through the internet.
And your singer is French, right? And he's from
They're all Swiss French.
Yes.
They're all from Switzerland, but he's actually the last one that joined the lineup, and he didn't know any of the other guys before, so that he's also from Switzerland. They didn't know each other, and when we were looking for a vocalist after Mike left the band in 2009, we were trying out a lot of people, and we had lots of submissions sent in, and in the end it just happened by accident that the guy who was to be our new lead singer was also from Switzerland.
Wow.
He was like the closest selection was a guy from Australia, then him and a Canadian guy actually, and in the end Loic just had the most versatile voice. Basically, he can do really everything from clean vocals and like solely kind of singing to full on death metal grunts, and so yeah, when we heard his contributions, we were like, this is it, this is what we've been looking for. And as a matter of fact or chance, he was from Switzerland as well. That wasn't planned.
And I heard he had like a little bit of a hard time with the pronunciation of English with speaking French while he was doing the lyrics and stuff like that. Now, do you write the lyrics also, or do you guys all write material together?
No, we don't. I write the lyrics entirely. That's all. That's my domain, so to speak. Yeah, when Loic joined the band, he barely spoke any English, and it's not very common in that part of Switzerland. Like people who speak French, and French culture is very, like, I don't know how to put it. English is not very popular there. They don't really learn it at school so much. And when Loic joined the band, he didn't know much, so we taught him quite a bit, and then by being on the road, he picked up quite a bit, and he also took lessons, and now it's much better. But for like when we recorded Heliocentric, it was hard because we couldn't always just focus on the best takes. We also had to focus on like pronunciation issues, and that kind of kills the flow sometimes, So it was a bit difficult for that album. It was much better with Anthropocentric already. We could focus more on really getting the best take and finding the best vocal lines. And yeah, he's still learning. He's not entirely confident, like talking to the crowd, for example. That's why I mainly do that. We don't really talk so much to the crowd anyway. We're not an entertainment band, really. We usually just play, especially when we have a 30-minute set, unless there's problems, and something needs to be fixed. But yeah, he's not really so comfortable with his English that he would do that every night. But that's cool, he's more like the kind of introvert, kind of like toolish front guy that keeps in the back a lot and doesn't really talk so much. And that's just the way he is. That's just his character, and I think it really fits the band and the music. And yeah, his voice has gained a lot over the last 12 months, and also his English has gotten a lot better. It was the same with Luke, our drummer. Like when he joined the band, he barely spoke English. He's fine with it. So yeah, I guess being on the road and touring all over Europe and the US really helps.
Yeah, it definitely helps to learn some English for sure that way, and it's the best way to learn, actually, meeting different people. So let's talk about the albums, and they came out 2010, is that correct? Where Anthropocentric and Heliocentric came out?
Yeah.
And the difference mostly I've noticed is with Heliocentric, it was more orchestrated.
Mm-hmm.
So when you guys do play, say, in your hometown and everything like that, you bring more orchestra music into the play, but when you're out on tour, do you mainly focus on the Anthropocentric or?
No, we play songs from all albums live, and tonight we only played 4 songs. There was 5 songs, 2 Anthropocentric songs, 2 Heliocentric songs, and 1 Precambrian song. That's all that we can squeeze into this rather short set list, but we do play songs from all albums, and when we don't have our classical musicians with us, we just have the classical tracks just run by the sequencer. Basically, it's the studio track, so it's not like cheap violin samples that just sound cheesy. It's the actual studio recordings. We play entirely to a sequencer, so we can just run the tracks how they were recorded. So that's how we do it 90% of the time, and only for special occasions like certain festivals or shows where there is a big budget to bring in extra people. That's when we do that, when we have those instruments be played live. Like for the Heliocentric record release show, we had 13 musicians on stage with us, for example, but we can't do that on tour. It's just logistically and financially not possible. So we usually have it run by the sequencer as backing tracks. And that works. Of course, it's always nicer to do everything live, but it's just not possible. But we don't want to be limited to only play songs of 1 or 2 albums, or only to be able to play certain songs that just have the core instrumentation. We want to play all the songs every night, and it works. Like what you get sound-wise is the CD sound, basically, regarding those sample tracks, regarding those classical instruments. So yeah, it works, and we're free to play any song from any album whenever we want to.
Yeah, it sounded real. It actually did sound like the real instruments and everything like that when you were playing live. And was that more like for a yin and yang kind of feel between the 2 albums? Like, because it's kind of like a polar opposite. One's kind of heavier than the other, or did you plan it to be like that? I know there's like a concept with Christianity, with the lyrics and stuff like that. Can you talk a little bit about the lyrics and what the deal is about the whole thing with the God theme, the Christian theme?
Well, both albums are basically a critique of Christianity, and we're both addressing it from different angles. Heliocentric is going about it in a more like historical, like chronological way, starting with original text from the Bible, the first song Firmament, then moving on towards the discoveries of Galilei and Copernicus in medieval times that Earth is not actually at the center of the universe, and the effects that had at that time on Christian belief. And then progressing on towards Charles Darwin and his theory of evolution, and Richard Dawkins, the spearhead of modern atheism, basically. So it's like a very chronological story, from the Bible to Dawkins, basically. Anthropocentric is approaching it a bit more freely. It's still the same subject matter. It's all lyrics that are dealing with religion and with Christianity in particular. 4 songs, actually 3 songs on that album are centered around the novel The Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky, and especially the chapter The Grand Inquisitor in that novel, which is a whole discussion of the theodicy problem. And there's lots of Nietzsche in the lyrics, lots of quotes, actually, lots of lots of original text that we have adapted and made lyrics to our songs. So it's going all over the place, but it's such a vast, huge subject that we really had to make a choice what to squeeze into the constraints of 2 albums. It's not a lot. Obviously, we couldn't touch everything I would have liked to touch, but I think there's a lot in it to be discovered there.
And you have a deluxe package going with the merchandise, so because I noticed that I really like artwork. Definitely, when you're buying CDs, I mean, to me that makes it or breaks it.
Do you buy CDs or vinyls?
Actually, I like to buy vinyl.
Right.
But, I'm old school like that. I've always had vinyl. And I wanted to ask you, who does the artwork for the album, and where did you record the album?
The artwork is done by a guy named Martin Kvamme. He's Norwegian, and we discovered him by his work that he has done on various Mike Patton-related projects. He did the artwork for the Tomahawk CD, Midgas, and for basically everything Mike Patton has ever done since. And I was fascinated by the packaging of that particular CD, and so I got in touch with him and sent him our music. That was at Aeolian Times in 2006. Actually, even before that, and we started discussing and talking, and then he ended up doing the artwork for Aeolian, and he's been doing all our artworks since that album, basically. And he's going to do all our future album artworks too, because it's just awesome to work with him. He's very creative, very good, and a perfectionist, just like myself. He really wants everything to be in order, and a lot of times he sends something and we're like, this is awesome, but then he's like, no, this is shit, but I'm going to work on it and make it good, so he's very hard to please and hard to satisfy, and that's good because it really brings it to another level. And he has all these crazy ideas always to work with materials, like for Procambrian we had the die cut holes, and now for heliocentric and anthropocentric we had plastic dials attached to the digipack with a screw that holds them, and the inner dial was showing the sun for heliocentric and the Earth for anthropocentric, and then the next dial had the orbits of the planets circling around, and you can turn it and this kind of stuff. And he always comes up with these great and unique packaging ideas, and I think it's very important in a day when most people download their music. You got to give them a reason to actually go out and buy a physical product, and having special artwork and just a nice product is the best reason to actually go buy a physical CD or vinyl. It's even nicer when you have the space that you have on vinyl. So that's why we're doing that. And we've always been putting great attention to that, to deliver not just quality music but also quality packaging and artwork, because I think it's all a big whole. It's all playing together, and the lyrics, the visuals that we usually have live, the lighting, the CD artwork, the packaging, the T-shirts, it's all one thing, and we do care about all those details, I guess.
Great. And you guys went on tour with Dillinger Escape Plan. How was that tour? And can you tell me what was the funniest moment, or shocking moment, or maybe a prank behind stage, or something that that sticks out in your mind, that maybe one of your favorite moments from that tour?
That's already so far in the back of my head that I don't even remember any particular incidents, but it was an amazing tour for us. It was very, very good. I mean, I love this band. I've been a fan forever since they released Calculating Infinity, and to be able to watch them for 35 nights in a row was just something that was very cool. And I mean, that band just puts on an insane amount of energy every single night. You don't know where they're drawing that from. They're all over the place. They take risks. They're willing to suffer and to bleed and to break their ankles for a good show. And it's not even that they stage it. It just happens. It's spontaneous. It's brutal. It's violent, and it's mind blowing. Like, it's probably the best band I've ever seen live. And I have learned a lot on that tour, watching them every night, and they're really cool people too. So that was one of the best tours we've done in Europe, I think, and it was a great honor for us to go out with them. That's great.
Did you see him with Mike Patton also?
No, I did not. I never did. That was only in the U.S. But yeah, I would have loved to see that, obviously. Although I do think that Greg is just a great vocalist and he fits the band perfectly. So, but yeah, that was before he joined the band. You know, there was like the search phase when they were looking for a new vocalist after Dimitri left, I guess. So yeah, I would have loved to see that, but unfortunately I did not have a chance to.
Well, I just want to go back to Tomahawk for a moment because I just found out one of my favorite bass players, Trevor Dunn, is actually going to be on tour with them. So now you know.
Oh, that's
that.
cool.
Yeah, from Mr. Bungle. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Awesome.
But yeah, let's get back to your band. So you guys are on this tour. How long is the tour going for? And how many more dates do you have left?
I need to consult my tour pass for that. I think it's about 12 more dates. We've been out since April 11th. Actually, we had 3 headlining shows before this tour started, so we've been out since the 9th or something. And yeah, it's going on until May 16th, so we have like 10, 12 more days or something. It's been really good, this tour. It's obviously the best tour we've done in the U.S. It's only the second time we're over here, but we've been very well received by their crowd every night. I think their crowd is very open-minded. They have to put up with Between the Bird and Me's proggy escapades, so they're prepared for our like lengthy and sometimes proggy compositions. And musically, like, I think our band and Between the Bird and Me is a very good match. It works together really well, and they're amazing. I mean, yeah, I haven't really been a big fan before this tour, but after seeing them every night, it's just absolutely top-notch musicianship, obviously, and really good songwriting, and they're all really cool people. So we've had a great time on this tour. It's been awesome, and yeah, all the shows have been really, really good so far.
Well, one thing I really loved about your band is everybody's like moving around. You guys have a lot of energy, and you're really into the music. And I really love the flow of, you know, heavy and then melodic and everything like that going with the band. Can you tell me what festivals that you've played and what festivals you would love to play?
We've only played European festivals. The first festival we've played over here was New England Metal and Hardcore Fest this year. That was cool. But we haven't played any other festivals over here. Obviously, I would love to do Ozfest just for the experience of it at one point. And I would like to do South by Southwest. That's about the only festivals I really know over here. So we're open for anything and hope we get invited for a couple of festivals on this side of the Atlantic. In Europe, we've played all the major festivals. We've played Hellfest. We're going to play Hellfest again this year. The only big one we haven't played yet is Wacken, really. But that's more like... It's a very conservative festival, so I don't expect us to play there anytime soon. This year we got a number of really good festivals. We're playing Area 4 in Germany. We're playing Slovenia Metal Camp in the East. We're playing a bunch of festivals in Italy. We're playing Hellfest in France and Dua Festival in Belgium, which is amazing, like a lineup that is mixing of all different kinds of music from electronic to metal, and they have like 60, 70, 80,000 people going out there, so it's awesome. I think we have a really good festival season ahead of us this year.
Great. That sounds like you guys are going to be really busy, most definitely. Can you tell me what the positive and the negative things about touring are? I know you had a little bit of trouble today with the bus going on, which sucks, but can you just tell me both the positive and the negative?
Well, it's good to be out with a bunch of friends for a month, having Saturday evening every single night of the week. It's awesome. I love it. I love traveling. I love seeing places, and I guess it's like you have to be born for this kind of life. Like, we had a lot of people in the band that did it for 1 or 2 tours, and then they were like, "Oh, this is too stressful for me. I don't want to do this." I love it. I love being out for like 3 or 4 months. And then going back to Berlin, I always feel happy getting home. But then after 2 months, I'm like, fuck, I need to get out again. So I just have this restlessness in me that's that makes me want to go out and tour, I guess. And it's good times with your friends on the road, seeing lots of places, obviously, playing high energy shows and meeting lots of people. It's awesome. I really like it. The downside is that it's very uncomfortable, and that sometimes you just have sometimes it's really crushing when you play a full tour, and especially as a support band, you don't make a lot of money because you get paid shit, basically. That's the price you pay for playing to a big crowd. And then in the end, you even lose that money. Like, we were robbed in Spain on the last tour. They stole $6,000, 6,000 euro from us, actually. That's close to $10,000. And that was all the money we got for the whole tour with Dillinger Escape Plan on a fee basis, basically. That was all gone in a second. And that's crushing, because you're going through so much shit. You know, you sleep like 3 hours every night and drive for 12 hours and then play a show, and in the end you're paying out of your own pocket to do that. So that can be quite frustrating. And on this tour we've also had lots of issues with the tour bus company. Omnipath Rentals, based out of Utah. They screwed us from the very beginning. The bus arrived 32 hours late, came with a busted mirror, with no trailer, although we had paid for it. The driver didn't have a passport to get us into Canada. And now the bus broke down yesterday, and they didn't help us out at all. And we basically wired them most of the money up front. That was their condition for giving us a discount. And I was stupid enough to agree to that. So now we need to sue them and try to get part of the money back. But that's just fucked up, you know. When on this tour, I haven't really been getting as much into it as I should have, because the shows have been great. But it's like every night after those 30 minutes on stage, I get off stage, and all these problems just come back, and you constantly think about that and have to organize things and, you know, like, deal with this shit and then organize a van and whatnot. Like, the last 48 hours I've just spent constantly on the phone. And then today we bought our own van, so hopefully we're set now for any future tours.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be a blessing in disguise. You know, usually sometimes those things happen for a reason. I know everybody says that shit, but, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So what do you guys have planned to actually do for the next album? Have you thought about that?
No, not at all.
When
not
you're
at
on tour,
all.
you think about touring
Yeah.
pretty much.
I can't ride when I'm on tour. I need to be in a quiet place and far away from home, which is the case on tour, but it's just like I can't ride on tour. That's not going to work. I'm going to start riding this summer, probably. I usually go to a remote house on the Spanish coast for a couple of weeks and just chill out there with my guitars and a recorder and my computer, and that's what's going to happen this summer, I think, again. But we haven't planned anything yet. We released 2 albums last year, so we're not going to release anything this year. There may be an EP coming up at one point with an unreleased track that's still left from the Anthropocentric session, and a track that was only released as a compilation. But yeah, that's only going to come out maybe like in November, December or something like that. And we're not going to enter the studio until early next year, I think, to record the follow-up to Anthropocentric.
Do you go to the same studio every time to record, or?
So, well, we've recorded Heliocentric and Anthropocentric in the same studio, and I think we're going to continue working with this guy. It's Julian Fehlman, based out of La Chaux-de-Fonds, Switzerland. He's very good. And yeah, we're very happy with his work he's done on these 2 albums. So I'm pretty confident we will go back there to record our next album too. Yeah. And before that, I've recorded Fogdiver, Fluxion, Aeolian myself. And Precambrian was done partially in Finland by a guy named Jonas Olsson, who also did a really good job there. And then mixed in the UK in the US by Andrew Schneider in New York. And after that, we met Julian, and we decided to go with him. He's also part of that whole Switzerland gang, basically. So, you know, they're all like friends, and he's giving us very good rates at his studio that are very competitive. So that was the best choice to go with him.
Great. What band actually from where you're from, or, you know, maybe your bandmates that are local that you actually really like that maybe people haven't heard of yet?
There's nothing interesting in Berlin, really, but there is a lot of really interesting bands in Switzerland. There is a band called Abraham that I'm also releasing on my label, Pelagic Records. They sound like early Cult of Luna, early ISIS, kind of really, really good band. There's Kruger, also a really good Swiss band that recently released their album on Listenable Records. It was mixed by Kurt Ballou from Converge. You should definitely check them out. There's Knut, based out of Geneva, who are obviously awesome. They've released 3 albums on Hydra Head Records, I think, over here. And there's a very big and growing post-rock, post-metal, hardcore scene in Switzerland with lots of really, really interesting bands. So there's definitely heaps of bands to check out. Yeah.
What band would you like to share the stage with that you, would love to share the stage with? It was just would be your ultimate dream to share the stage with.
Tool.
Hear that, Tool? The Ocean.
Yeah, they should take us out. They took out ISIS. They took out Meshuggah. They should take us out, for sure. Deftones would be cool, too. Yeah, there is a bunch of bands I would like to play with, obviously, but yeah, Tool would probably be my favorite band to tour with. I guess that's what every kind of musician playing in a remotely proggy and heavy band would say, though. So it's a very generic answer, but it's just the truth.
Well, it's a very good band. So, I mean, we just heard a cover of Tool doing Led Zeppelin, and that was pretty awesome. Yeah. I mean, he sounded just like Robert Plant. They all sounded just like Led Zeppelin, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, they can do that. They can pull that off.
Yeah. Well, what would you like to tell your fans?
Well, come check out our show if you have a chance to. We're playing all over the fucking continent right now, so you better get your asses out there and check it out. I think it's something that needs to be seen live. It's I mean, as much as I like just putting on headphones in the dark and listening to music, the Ocean live is an audio-visual experience usually. Not tonight because we didn't have our projections, but it's it's a sequenced light show that is really cut to the music normally. It's visuals that, visualize the lyrical content of the songs and everything behind it, and then it's just five people running across the stage, going apeshit. So it's I don't know, it's something you have to see live. It's hard to describe, and you only get a part of the story if you listen to the albums, I think. So it's something that really needs to be seen live. We're trying to be back in the US soon, hopefully before the end of the year. So yeah, if you couldn't make it this time, you may get another chance.
What advice would you give a beginning musician?
Sorry, what was that? What
advice would you give as a beginning musician?
As a beginning musician?
Yeah. The best advice you can give.
I don't know. What you need, you really need patience and endurance to get out there. I guess it's really easy today. When we started out, the internet wasn't where it is today, so that was still a time when you would send out physical demos to labels, and try to find a booking agency. Today it's so easy to self-promote your band, but the most important thing is just to rehearse a lot and get good at your instruments, and then you need to have someone in the band or around the band that knows a little bit about management and how to get things out there. But that doesn't have to be a professional manager. That can be anyone who is reliable and who's sociable or whatever, who knows how to talk to people and has a few contacts and hooks you up with an agency or or gets people interested in the band and gets some support shows. And that's the two integral parts: just playing really well and rehearsing a lot, and focusing on songwriting, trying to do something different rather than just copying your favorite bands. That's always boring and never going to work out. And then having someone who's kind of able to market that and sell it.
Can you tell me about Earthship?
Who's that?
I don't know. You tell me.
Well, Earthship is a side project of mine that I started last year with my old friend and roommate Jan Oberg that I've been knowing for 10, 20 years, and it's actually his band. He writes all the songs there. And when he asked me to join the band, I immediately said yes, not really thinking about that I don't really have much time to, focus on other tours. But yeah, I really like his material. He's a really good songwriter. It's kind of between Crowbar, Baroness, and Iron Monkey, heavy sludge stuff. He's playing guitar and doing vocals in that band. I just play second guitar live, and yeah, like I said, we've been friends forever, and it's fun to jam with that band because it's so different from the Ocean. The Ocean, everything is like synced, and it takes lots of rehearsals, and everything is planned, and we have the visuals and the lights, running to the sequencer and headphones and click and in ears. And Earthship is just like getting drunk, plugging in a cable into your amp, and rocking out. So it's very different in that regard, and that's cool. We're going to be supporting the Ocean on our headlining tour in Europe that's coming up, together with Intronaut and Red Fang, and then Earthship's the first band on that bill. So that's the first tour that Earthship's ever going to do, and I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be double shows for me every night, first playing with Earthship, then watching Red Fang and Intronaut, and then playing with the Ocean again. So that's going to be fun. Looking forward to that.
When does that start?
Right after this tour. We're going back May 17th to the UK, then we're doing 10 days UK with a different package. And then we're going to mainland Europe May 29th until like June 20th. The tour concludes with Hellfest on June 19th, I think. So we'll be doing mainland Europe with that package for about 4 weeks in May and June.
Great. Well, I want to thank you. And please tell everybody where they can find your merchandise and your music.
Of course I will. Well, I run a little record label called Pelagic Records. We do all our vinyl editions of the Ocean albums, and we're releasing Earthship and this band that I spoke earlier about, Abraham, for example, too. So it's not just Ocean, it's kind of a lot of other cool bands that I discovered and that I really like and try to promote. And we're also having all the Ocean merchandise and all the vinyl boxes and special editions and everything. That's www.pelagic, that's PELAGIC -records.com. And then there is a shop link, and you can, order whatever you want to get.
Thank you very much, Robin, for your interview today with us and playing tonight at the Slims and the Ocean. You should check them out. And you're watching Bay Area Rocks.
Fuck yeah. Thanks for the interview.